I'm here to talk about the NZEUG GALoP-X program 2022 that I was fortunate to be a part of. And so this is going to be an overview of the program and going to share some of the highlights I experienced throughout it. And as you can see, the presentation is made as a story map. So it's going to be a little wordy because it's set up a bit like a blog, but it's so that if you wanted to use it as a resource afterwards to recap on anything I say or click on more of the links I embedded into it to use as a resource to try to find out more about the course if you're interested. That's the reason it's made as a story map. Anyway, a little bit about me. My name is Lateefah, and my background with the NZEUG products has been an ever-growing interest and passion of mine for the last couple of years. So my journey started in 2017 as a summer intern at Wellington Water. This is where I first learnt the basics of digitizing future classes, making little reservoirs on a map, and then I was bestowed some of the most glamorous tasks you can as an intern, where you manually update the data and the spreadsheets to be imported into Pro. And after this experience, I surprisingly wanted to know more, so I started studying at Victoria University of Wellington, where I was exposed to more in depth about the geospatial world, and this is where I started to grow my strong base foundation about working with spatial data and cartographic knowledge. Then at the end of 2021, I completed a Bachelor of Science majoring in Physical Geography and a Bachelor of Design and Innovation majoring in Media Design. And I spent the last summer as an intern in the GIS team at Centre. So after my internship, I wanted to further upskill my knowledge of the products, as leaving university, my knowledge was still pretty basic and the outputs I was creating was mostly 2D maps for print. So I was encouraged to apply to be part of the GALoP-X program along with 7 other people that were passionate about the geospatial world as well. And so GALoP-X stands for Geospatial Accelerated Learning Program. The program runs for 6 weeks. It's based in the Wellington Eagle Technology Office, and 2 of the days of the week it was in the Majestic Centre up on the top floor of the Majestic City building. And we were, over the course of the 6 weeks, exposed to the vast catalogue of the S3 products through instructor-led tutorials and challenges by industry professionals. So the overall aim of the program was to introduce us and expose us to many of the applications, as I just said. But this was so when we go back to our respectable organizations and fields, we were then equipped with new perspectives and ideas of how to make our workflows more better in quality and efficiency. So overall, just how to do what we already do, but better. And this was a video of the 3D tutorial we did, learning how to take earthquake data and show it in a 3D space. That was pretty cool. Then at the end of each of the course, each person is expected to be able to develop a final project using the skills they've gained to overall just celebrate our development by the end of the course. And so this is a video of the 3D model I was developing for my project. It was of about NZ light pollution, and as you can see over Auckland, it's pretty rough. And in terms of prior experience coming into the program, over the 8 of us, it was quite a large range. It went from little to no experience all the way up to 1 to 2+ years in the industry. And I think we all found that this wasn't really a major barrier for any of us, because most of the tutorials were built in a certain way that you would go from the basics all the way up guided to advanced skills. So if you're someone that was wanting to learn the basics or have a refresher, or someone that was wanting to upskill their techniques and up to more advanced techniques, there's definitely a place for you somewhere in this program. And so overall, it didn't really matter heavily what our backgrounds were. We just needed to bring a keen attitude and a willingness to learn. So in terms of the structure of the course, So as I said, it covered a range of topics within the capabilities of the Esri products. So I broke down the key topics, I think, overbranching what we learned, but in each individual tutorial. So starting with the core of ArcGIS system, a lot of us coming into the program never had the role as admin within the system, so a lot of us didn't really know the behind the scenes of how ArcGIS Online and Enterprise was managed. So this is where we got to see and understand the system from a business and workflow standpoint, and understand the structure and maintenance that goes into the systems. Then we learned about data management, as you probably know, working with geospatial data, you tend to create a lot of data very quickly, or sometimes unexpectedly. So learning where it was all stored and the architecture of the system was very beneficial, because I don't think a lot of us actually knew where a lot of it was being stored. And learning about data integrity and where your data goes along each stage, and how to make sure it's secure and credible all the way up to the end and over the years. And then we learned about the various applications within like ArcGIS and the Esri products. So this was probably the most hands-on part of the program, where we really got to just jump in and do what we wanted to, and explore the products. So the applications we mostly explored were story maps, the field maps like Survey 123, Quick Capture, Track Viewer, Drone to Map, and dashboards, as well as App Studio. We're going to make our own hubs, looked into insights, and we looked at a lot of the visual analysis tools that were solely within Map Viewer. So that was quite interesting. And at the bottom here, I've linked a couple of examples of challenge outputs we did. So this is the output for the dashboard challenge we did. We were basically given an hour, and they told us go find some data and create a dashboard. So this is the one I created. Personally, I'm quite proud of it. I think it's quite snazzy for an hour. So hopefully I can update this section more in the future with some of the participants' outputs. And then we went on to learning about developer tools. A lot of us didn't really have much coding experience, or weren't confident coders, but that wasn't really a problem, as I think in the end we all managed to produce some outputs that we were pretty proud of. There was really, really good, helpful guidance and patient tutors. So we looked into the capabilities of using Python, FME, and ArcPy for automation and analysis techniques, as well as an intro into languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and using App Studio to formulate those customization options, especially if your organization has more of a branding they wanted to show, as most of the Esri products are quite out of the box, and this is what you get. So, and then after that, we looked into an analysis, presentation, and cartographic skills. This was probably linked throughout the whole program, looking into how to display data, tips and tricks, and especially, I think the analysis was probably the most beneficial to a lot of us, as the last time we were probably studying GIS was we were all using ArcMap back in the day. So learning about network, raster, and spatial analysis modeling tools within Pro was definitely very beneficial. And then touching upon 3D analysis techniques and looking into softwares like the City Engine was definitely eye-opening, and opened up some new worlds that everyone was pretty keen to explore. And then finally, we were very fortunate enough to have an in-person site visit to the Wellington City Council. This was during one of the first weeks of the program, and I think that was very valuable for all of us, because it really set the tone for the rest of the program and what we could achieve, and it gave us something to strive for as we complete the program, just by showing like what this knowledge is capable of and what we can really do in the real world to make a difference. So, highlights of the course. Learning about the capabilities and the future ones to come from the NZEUG products was very eye-opening, and especially my background where I was mainly only making 2D maps for print in Art Pro, I'm definitely leaving this program with a whole new fresh perspective on the geospatial world, and if anything, I'm more inspired and excited to launch my career into this field. A personal standout though was City Engine. As I was studying, I studied media design, so film and game design alongside geography. And a lot of time was being asked, like, how does these two overlap? How are you going to integrate the two together? So seeing City Engine being used for game and film, using real world geospatial data to create these buildings was very interesting to me, because that was the first time I saw my passions just overlap seamlessly. And learning about the 3D modeling and deep learning within City Engine as well, in terms of looking into future urban development within, especially Wellington City being geographically close to a coastline, be very interesting to see how we use this technology in the future. So City Engine is definitely something I'll be keeping an eye out on, and hopefully something I can get involved in. And I can't not talk about the program without talking about the view working on the top floor of the Majestic Centre, which is the tallest building in Wellington. And if I haven't convinced you enough about the amazing knowledge and experiences that I've had, the food was really good. We got given a lot of snacks throughout the day. We were a bit spoiled, but it was quite a nice experience. And these lollies specifically were placed next to our workstations, and biting into them is same texture as probably biting into the side of the pavement, but they're for some reason very addictive. So my final thoughts, I can say definitely without a doubt, I benefited from participating in the GALoP-X program. And if anyone is interested in upskilling the GIS skills or wanting to learn or refresh the basics, I would highly recommend applying. The support throughout the course from all the mentors, instructors and fellow participants was very helpful, and everyone was super kind and made it a very enjoyable experience. And I'd just like to say a final thank you to Claire Thurlow, Alice Mill, and the rest of the lovely people I met throughout the program. I'd just like to say good luck to them for the rest of their GIS journeys, and I hope to see them all around soon. Thanks.